Hi there everyone and welcome back to the channel. A lot of people are starting to run 8S on larger quads and even 5-inch quads these days, and I wanted to look into how much power you can get from an 8S pack compared to a similar weight 6S pack. I also wanted to do some battery testing because I haven't done some for a while, and I've got a stack of new batteries from Tattu and ONBO in both 6 and 8S to test. In this video, I'm going to be taking you through these new packs on the bench. We're going to be putting them on the tester and seeing how the 6S and 8S packs perform against each other and also against the batteries that I've tested previously. It's loads to cover in one video, so let's not waste any more time. Let's dive right into it. If you're interested in the full comparison across all of the 6S batteries that I've tested up until now, including these ones, I'll put a link down in the video description to aosrc.com where you can find the full data, as well as my recommended batteries and other components for quads of all different sizes. Why not click on that link and have a look while you listen to the rest of this video. All right, so here are the packs we're going to be testing today, and we have a bunch of Tattu R-Line V5s, a 1400, 1480, 1550 and 1800 in 6S, and a 1050 and 1300 in 8S. And we also have two ONBO Bando-K packs, both 1300 mAh, a 6S and an 8S. We've actually got a really interesting comparison 6 to 8S because although this 1050 and 1400 have exactly the same 31.08 watt hours, they don't weigh exactly the same. The 8S weighs 241.8 grams and the 6S weighs 228.2, so that's quite a difference. However, if we take the 1480, that weighs 238 versus the 241 of the 1050-8S. So in terms of a weight comparison, actually the 1480 versus the 1050 is the closest in terms of equal weight. All right, so let's take a look at the results from the battery testing, starting with the constant power discharge test. Here I'm discharging the packs at 15C times their nominal voltage, which is 22.2 volts for a LiPo or 22.8 volts for a lithium high volt, all the way from fully charged, which is 25.2 or 26.1 volts respectively, down to 3.3 volts per cell, which is the cutoff. As you can see, we have energy delivered on the x-axis and battery voltage on the y-axis, and depending on the size of the pack determines how quickly it loses voltage as it delivers energy until eventually it drops below that cutoff and the test finishes. The bigger packs, so for example the Tattu R-Line V5 1800 mAh is going to be able to deliver more energy than the other packs, and in a minute we'll look at how they compare to their rated energy in terms of how much energy they're able to store. Moving on to the 8S discharge test, again we're doing very similar. It's 15C times 29.6 volts, which is the nominal voltage for an 8S pack, gives us the discharge power, and we're discharging from 33.6 volts fully charged all the way to 26.4 volts, which is 3.3 volts per cell. And again, the larger packs deliver more energy. An interesting difference here is that the ONBO Bando-K 1300 delivers quite a bit more energy than the Tattu R-Line 1300, the V4, not the V5. So it's interesting to note that there's quite a big difference in energy delivery between those two packs, despite the fact they have the same milliamp hour rating. There's also a bit of a difference in weight as well. The ONBO Bando-K 8S is significantly heavier than the Tattu R-Line V4 8S 1300, and so based on the weight, we would expect it to deliver more energy, and indeed it does. Looking at the energy delivered for all of these new packs that we're testing, in general, I'm pretty pleased that the energy delivered, the tested watt hours, was very similar to the rated energy. Particularly from the ONBO Bando-Ks, we got pretty much exactly the rated energy out of them. And for the Tattu R-Line, we also got very good results. We got very close to the rated energy out of the 1050, and pretty close to the rated energy out of the 1400 as well. The 1800s and the 1300s delivered a little bit less than their rated energy, and that can be due to a number of reasons, but often it's due to a difference in cutoff voltage between what the manufacturer specifies and what I use. So maybe they measure the energy down to 3.1 volts per cell rather than 3.3, and that means that their energy rating would be a bit higher. Of course, it doesn't explain why the 1050 would be really, really close and the 1800 not be so close, but there can also be pack-to-pack variation as well. Overall, the batteries that delivered the most energy were the R-Line V5 1800 and the ONBO Bando-K 8S 1300. And you can see there's a real equivalence between the 6S 1800 mAh pack and the 8S 1300 mAh pack in terms of energy delivered, both when looking at the ONBO and the Tattu, and also when just comparing the two Tattu packs. Very similar amount of energy. Also, if we come down and look at the 1050 versus the 1400, also very, very similar amounts of energy, with the 1050 lying between the 1400 and the 1480 in terms of energy delivered. To show you that on a graph for comparison, here's the 8S discharges versus the 6S discharges on those packs that are very equivalent in terms of energy. And we have the 8S 1050 lying between the 1400 and the 1480 and a little bit below the 1550 6S. And if we look at the 6S 1800, that's landing pretty much exactly between the two 8S 1300s that we're testing today, the ONBO Bando-K and the Tattu R-Line 1300. So we should be able to get a really good comparison between the capabilities of the 6S versus the 8S packs, because the energy that they hold is very similar. So just looking at the energy delivered doesn't take into account the weight of the packs, and there is quite a weight difference between some of these batteries. So looking at energy density gives us the energy delivered per gram of battery weight, so the watt hours per gram. And we can see that overall, all of these batteries, both the Tattu R-Line V5 and the ONBO Bando-Ks, are very similar in terms of energy density, only ranging from about 0.125 watt hours per gram up to 0.135 watt hours per gram. So not a huge difference there. The smaller cells, so the 1050s and the 1200 milliamp hours, have the lowest energy density. And I guess that makes sense. You're making the cells smaller, you've probably got a bit more weight in the wrapping of the cell. I don't think there's much to choose between all of these packs, just in terms of energy density. It's interesting to note as well that there doesn't seem to be any benefit to 8S in terms of energy density over 6S. They're much the same in terms of energy density, so we should move on and look at the burst performance to see if we can split the packs there. Now let's look at the data for the burst discharge testing. And starting with the 6S packs, here's the profile that we use. 0C for 3 seconds, just to allow the pack to sit and to get a measure of the starting voltage. Then we do 15C constant current discharge this time for 48 seconds. And then after 48 seconds, we do a 2C per second current ramp. And what this means is that at any time along the x-axis for all of these packs, we're going to get the same C rate of discharge. And this means that the packs that survive the longest before they drop below 3.3 volts per cell are able to achieve a higher C rating. One thing that I noticed when looking at this data is that some of the packs are able to maintain a higher voltage during this burst discharge test than others. And there appears to be a bit of a gap between this group of packs and the ones below. Now, this difference is only a few tenths of a volt, so you probably wouldn't notice it in flight, but it does allow the packs to deliver a bit more power before they hit that 3.3 volts per cell cutoff. I'm still trying to figure out what enables these particular packs to deliver this better performance. When I've tested multiple packs, I test them all at the same time, they're at the same temperature. The only thing I can think is that maybe it's to do with how soon after they've been charged that I put them on test. But I'm going to look at that in more detail, and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel so that you see that video when it comes out. Hopefully we can replicate whatever this effect is so that we can get a bit more performance out of the packs when we fly them. Here are the results for the same test on the 8S packs. Again, we're doing exactly the same, 0C for 3 seconds, 15C discharge, and then 2C per second current ramp. We start at a higher voltage, 33.6, and discharge down to 26.4, but that's the same volts per cell. It's just that we have 8 cells rather than 6 now. If we plot both the 8S and 6S burst testing results on the same chart, obviously they're offset because of the different voltages of the packs, but you can see that all of the discharge curves look a very similar shape, and all the tests take about the same amount of time. Because of the way this test works, if you have 2 packs with the same C rate, the same effective C rate, they will last exactly the same amount of time on this test. And the packs that last longer have a higher effective C rating. And that's independent of the voltage of the pack. To save you peering at that other plot, I've created a chart with the effective C rate of all of these cells. You can see that the Tattu R-Line V5 1800 mAh has the highest effective C rate with a C rate of 74. Obviously, my C rate is measured at 3.3 volts per cell with the pack 80% full after 48 seconds of discharge. So it's different from the way manufacturers will measure their C rating. The important thing is that my C rate is comparable across all the packs that I've tested. The highest performing 8S pack is the 1050 mAh Tattu R-Line V5, and that has an effective C rate of 68. And the worst performer of these that I tested is the Tattu R-Line V4 8S 1300. And I guess that makes sense. It's likely that from V4 to V5, Tattu have improved their formulation to deliver a higher effective C rate. That said, even this Tattu R-Line V4 is still doing really well with a C rate of 58. Anything above 50 as an effective C rate, I consider to be doing pretty well on this test. And all of the packs we're looking at from both Tattu and ONBO far exceed that kind of marker of 50. Of course, the effective C rate doesn't take into account the voltage that the pack is delivering the power at. So for that, we need this maximum burst power graph. Here we can clearly see the difference between a 6S and an 8S pack. If we take an ONBO Bando-K 1300 mAh 6S, that's delivering about 1540 watts. If we take the same pack on 8S, so it's the same cells, but now you've got two more of them, that's delivering 2265 watts. And unsurprisingly, the difference between the 6S and the 8S pack is pretty much exactly 33% because you've got 33% more cells. So you will get much more power out of an 8S pack at the same milliamp hour rating as a 6S pack. But a more fair comparison is between a 6S and an 8S pack that weigh pretty much the same. So let's look at the R-Line V5 8S 1050 and the R-Line V5 6S 1480. These packs weigh pretty much the same. And you can see they deliver almost exactly the same power. So there's no inherent advantage to 8S over 6S if the packs weigh the same. The only benefit you potentially get from moving to 8S is if you're moving to 8S and also increasing the battery weight at the same time. The best performing pack overall is actually a 6S pack. It's the Tattu R-Line V5 1800 6S. This pack performed really, really well and outperformed even the ONBO 8S 1300, which weighs a little bit more than it. So as I said, I want to look into what makes this pack perform so well. The final chart I want to show you is the power density chart. So here we're taking into account the power that the battery can deliver, which is to do with the current and its voltage. And we're also taking into account the weight of the pack. So the packs with the highest power density are delivering the most power per gram of battery weight. And at the top of this chart is the Tattu R-Line V5 1800 mAh. Again, it's just a very good performing pack, delivering above 9 watts per gram, which is an exceptionally high power density. And then the next one is the Tattu R-Line V5 1480, the R-Line V5 1200, the R-Line V5 8S 1050. Kind of get the idea. These Tattu R-Line V5 packs are really high performing. And then we've got the ONBO Bando-K 8S, and that's also doing really well. In fact, overall, what it's impressive to see is that all of these packs from Tattu and ONBO are delivering well above 6.5, getting on for 7 watts per gram, which is kind of the gold standard for FPV racing packs. If you can get over 7 watts per gram, or even towards 8 watts per gram, then the performance is really there for very, very hard freestyle or racing. So now it's time to sum up what we've learned from all of this testing, and I'll give you my thoughts. First off, I think all of these new packs from Tattu, all the new R-Line V5s and the new ONBO Bando-K packs that I tested, they're all trading blows at the top of the leaderboard, and I would strongly recommend any of them. The performance from all of them is really, really good. And probably the difference between the different sizes is as much pack-to-pack variability as anything else. Every year, battery technology continues to improve, and these new packs kind of demonstrate that. They're just pushing the boundaries of what can be achieved in terms of energy density and power delivery. The second thing is selecting batteries. If you're choosing between 4S and 6S or 6S and 8S packs, I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again here, you really have to pick based on battery weight, because the difference in milliamp hour and power delivery between the different packs, even if you have the same watt hours, the same rated watt hours, actually the weight of the pack is a better predictor of equivalent performance. If you have a 6S and 8S pack that weigh pretty much the same, and they're all modern packs, the latest generation, they're going to perform very, very similarly in terms of effective C rate and power delivery. If you'd like to pick any of these packs up for your freestyle or racing quad, I'll put links down the video description to help you find where to buy them. And they are affiliate links, which means that if you click through and make a purchase, that helps support the channel and doesn't cost you anything. So please do try to use those links if you can. That's all I have for you for today. So until next time, I wish you all very, very happy flying.